The next film I'm going to discuss comes with some complaints. Not because it's a bad film, but because it's a really good film. So, for all the movies I've randomly pulled out of my collection at random have been quite enjoyable. This one also comes out of the Criterion collection, which is weird because out of the 1,790 movies in my collection, only 554 of them are from the Criterion collection. That only makes up about 31% of my entire hoard of movies. But that's okay, those are objectively the best ones. The film I selected at random this time is David Gordon Green's George Washington. Don't let the title fool you. It's not about the first president of the United States, and the main character's name isn't really George Washington. It's George Richardson. And don't let the director fool you either, because this is actually a masterwork and a drama. This was Green's debut feature, and it received critical acclaim, but then the trajectory of David Gordon Green's career took a 180-degree turn, and he started directing ridiculous comedies and horror films such as The Pineapple Express, The Sitter, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, The Exorcist Believer, and most recently, some Christmas comedy called Nutcrackers. How could the career of a director of such a promising independent film go so wrong? He probably decided that a career of Hollywood studio comedies and horror films was where the money was at, and he abandoned his original passion. He wouldn't be the first filmmaker to do so. Maybe someday he'll return to form. George Washington is about a depressed, rural, derelict southern town in North Carolina. The film is told in voiceover and seen through the eyes of a young 12-year-old girl named Naja. The movie follows a group of children growing up in the town and how they come to grips with the hard world that they live in. The movie gave me To Kill a Mockingbird, Killer of Sheep vibes as I watched it, mostly because of the relationship between the kids in the tired old town. David Gordon Green experimented again with voiceover narration years later in 2021 in his film Halloween Kills by giving the iconic Laurie Strode character the task of narrating portions of the film, but it wasn't as effective as Naja's was in George Washington.
If they don't stop him tonight, maybe we'll find him tomorrow, or next Halloween when the sun sets and someone is alone.
At the beginning of the movie, Naja breaks up with her somewhat punk of a boyfriend, Buddy. Buddy's got some attention-seeking behavior, but he's not really a bad kid. Naja just decides to break up with him because she decides that he's too immature for her, and she sets her sights on another young boy in the neighborhood, an introverted boy named George Richardson. George has a condition, though. He has to keep his head from getting wet, and he often has to wear a helmet because his fontanelle never hardened after birth. While a group of the kids are playing in an abandoned public restroom, they started to play a little rough with one another, and George accidentally kills Buddy. It really was a freak accident. I actually had to rewind the movie and rewatch the deadly blow to Buddy that caused him to hit his head, and it really looked like George didn't hit him hard at all. He wasn't trying to cause bodily harm to him. It was a weird situation. These kids just cannot get a break in this sad town. The kids are afraid that they will get in trouble for killing Buddy, so they decide to hide his body. In the days after, we see precisely one missing persons poster with Buddy's picture on it. George returns a few times to the dump site to see if Buddy's body has been disturbed, and it has not. One day, George sees a neighborhood boy drowning alone in the public swimming pool when no one is around. George disregards the fact that he's not supposed to get his head wet, and he jumps in and rescues the boy and becomes a town hero. Instead of praising George, his aunt and uncle scold him for being careless enough to get his head wet when he knows it could kill him. They don't seem too thrilled that their nephew has become a local hero. Since George is now a hero, he chooses to dress the part by putting on a little superhero outfit and wearing a cape. Eventually, George moves Buddy's body to a different dump site, and he is found. There was a scene at around this time in the movie that really stuck with me because it was so barbaric. So I'll briefly describe it to you. Throughout the film, George has this dog that he found abandoned. It's an old mangy thing, but he loves it. He brought it home, cared for it, loved it, went most places with it. He knew he had to hide it from his uncle, though, because his uncle hates dogs. One day, he found the dog dead and bleeding by the shed behind his aunt and uncle's house. The uncle came to George and admitted that he killed the dog because he is afraid of dogs ever since an incident when he was 6 years old. The uncle relayed to George that when he was 6, a dog got a little aroused and sexually stimulated and tried to have his way with him to the point where he knocked him to the ground and got on top of him. This caused the uncle to have PTSD when it came to dogs, and that is why he killed George's dog. But here is the barbaric part. I'm not done yet. Bear with me. The uncle skinned the dog and made a hat for George out of the dog's fur and attached a raccoon tail to it.
In his heart, I think his uncle cared about him. He knew George's helmet hurt his head. So he made him a soft new hat out of the skin of his dead dog and an old raccoon's tail.
So now George has this Cruella de Vil Davy Crockett hat that he wears with his superhero costume. Isn't that messed up? I cringed so hard. I love dogs. My attitude is hurt all the people you want in movies, just leave the dogs alone. George Washington was also written and produced by David Gordon Green, and we all know how impressed I am when a filmmaker produces their own debut film. Where did he get the money? How did he raise the money? I couldn't find too many details about the production of George Washington. Next time I watch it, I'll have to play it with the director's commentary or something because I need to know. I want to close out my conversation about George Washington by praising the cinematography. I don't know why Tim Orr was not nominated for an Academy Award for Best Cinematography for the film because he would have deserved the nomination and he would have deserved to win. It is stunningly gorgeous. He made this ugly, depressing town look so stellar. It's a sin he wasn't nominated. Every frame is a work of art. A lot of people have described the film as not having a plot. When the cinematography is that good, do you really need one? However, I disagree with those who argue that the film has no plot. As of May 20th, 2025, George Washington is available for streaming on the Criterion channel. It is also available on Blu-ray, released by the Criterion Collection. I highly recommend this one.